Hi guys, we're going to take a quick look at a revision video that we didn't quite have time to cover all the material from in class. So bear with me as we look at a few strategies here that will help you in finishing your comparative analysis visual essay. All right, let's start with the revision checklist and just make sure you understand all of the components. Remember that the revision checklist is now a requirement and must be complete at the beginning of class on Friday. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't still make a few touch-ups to your essay on Friday, but I'm trying to go ahead and kind of push you to get things done and look at this revision checklist so that if you have any questions on Friday, you can address those with me during class if you have a minute or during third block. So first of all, here we see that we're expected, of course, to write about a theme that the outsiders in Wreck-It Ralph share. As you know, you have to cite specific examples and evidence from the book and movie on your C&E slides to really develop your point. And in class recently, we talked about adding additional evidence by using at least one quote from the book and/or movie using the ice cream sandwich method. So just as a quick refresher, we have the ice cream sandwich method displayed here. At the beginning, we're going to be sure to introduce the quote by making sure we understand who the speaker of that quote is. So in this case, my example says that he, the boy from the giving tree, tells her, the giving tree. Next, we have to actually include and cite the quote. So I've used quotation marks here to include the exact quote from the text. And remember, since it's a book, I have the author's last name and the page number here in parentheses. If you're citing from a movie, we don't have an author or a page number necessarily, so you could just use the movie title. And then, of course, at the end, we have an explanation that shows the importance of the quote and how it relates to the topic. All right, next we have a reminder to include appropriate images or video clips to support your evidence. Just as a quick reminder of how we can do that, if you will go to a slide in your comparative analysis slideshow, you can click Insert, Video, and then copy the URL or link to that particular video, and that will select it and input the video for you. If you're working with just a photograph, it's probably easy just to go to Google, select the image search, and then type in a specific scene that you're looking to find a photograph of to add evidence of. So here we have a few different ones that would work for the church fire. All right, moving right along. You have effectively used the I-Ray strategy to organize your slides. Please remember that you do have a slide guide that walks you through this step by step. And now we're approaching an area that we've spent a little bit of time on through the slide guide, but I wanted to go into further detail for you. It says, I've used the transition phrases suggested throughout my slide guide to create a smooth flow with no speed bumps in my writing. Now, this point about speed bumps in your writing is kind of a new way of thinking about transitions. So I want to watch a quick video with you to kind of illustrate what transitions serve in terms of their purpose in our writing and what happens when we don't have good transitions. So take a look here with me. The video happens to be in another language, but that's not really the point. I simply want you to watch what happens.
Kamera läuft ja schon. Ja, komm doch mal hierher. Ja, komm. So, haha. Jetzt warte mal. Wart mal, Bursche. Jetzt wollen wir mal sehen. So. Jetzt wollen wir mal sehen, Bursche. Du fährst mir hier nicht mehr durch. Ach Mensch, gieße doch nicht auf die Blumen. Hierher. Komm hierher. Ja, so. Oh, jetzt kommt er. Jetzt kommt er. Lass mal Papa ran. Lass mal Papa ran. Jetzt bist du dran. Junge. Toll, was?
So I know the video here is pretty exaggerated, but let's think about how this might apply to reading and writing. When we're writing a piece, we want our reader to be able to easily connect ideas. And when we don't have appropriate transitions in our writing, this is what happens to our reader. They hit speed bumps and they're thrown off course. So I wanted to take a quick look at some sample writing from a student in one of our classes. This student has done an excellent job creating an introductory lead or hook. The student has also done an excellent job creating an R, a restatement of the keywords within our prompt. We see that here with the titles of the text as well as this idea of a common theme. And the student has also created an A statement in which he answers the specific prompt by giving us a specific theme. But here's what happens in between these two sentences. Read with me. It says, you don't have to be a natural born hero to be a hero. The Outsiders and Wreck-It Ralph share a common theme. Now, between the I statement and the R statement, we hit a major bump in the writing. It just doesn't seem to flow well. So let's take a look at a well-transitioned version and work through a sample together. We start with the same sentence here as our leader hook. It says, you don't have to be a natural born hero to be a hero. But here's how I began to transition from one idea to another. So let's think about ways we could complete these blanks. It says, this fact is evident in characters like blank from S.E. Hinton's blank. So if we're thinking about heroes that are not natural born heroes but yet become heroic, we might insert details like Johnny and Dally from S.E. Hinton's The Outsiders. Now, of course, I'm remembering to italicize my titles of my text. That's another step on our checklist that we'll see. And blank from Disney's film Blank. So again, if I'm thinking of unlikely heroes, I would probably put Ralph's name here and, of course, the film title here. Remembering, of course, to italicize it as a title. So now we have, you don't have to be a natural born hero to be a hero. This fact is evident in characters like Johnny and Dally from S.E. Hinton's The Outsiders and Ralph from Disney's Wreck-It Ralph. In fact, through these blank. So let's think about what I'm referring to here. I'm referring to Johnny, Dally, and Ralph, which happen to be characters. And their blank, well, if I'm thinking about what they went through in order to become heroes, I might fill this in with a word like experiences. The Outsiders and Wreck-It Ralph share a common theme. Both texts teach readers and viewers that sometimes heroes do not fit a respectable stereotype. So now when I read this introductory paragraph from start to finish, I'm not hitting any major speed bumps along the way because I've used some appropriate transitions to make sure my writing is flowing and keeping my reader on track. Let's return to the revision checklist and make sure we have all other aspects covered. It tells us here that we need to use specific language to convey specific information, examples, and evidence about our topic. You have a couple of examples to refer to here of the type of writing, including specific details that we're looking for. Then we move on to language, grammar, and mechanics. Be sure to check your slides for spelling errors. There's an easy way to do this by going to your Tools tab, clicking Spelling, and then it tells me over here that it has no spelling suggestions. If you have some possibly misspelled words, those spelling suggestions would pop up and allow you to change them. Make sure you have complete sentences with correct end punctuation. Make sure you've italicized your titles of your text like Wreck-It Ralph and The Outsiders. And of course, when you use a cited quote, be sure to punctuate it correctly. Notice here that I'm using some of the same dialogue rules that we studied during our narratives. We've got an introductory comma, quotations, and then our punctuation inside of the quotation mark. But notice also that I'm using my parentheses to give credit from this source. So Wreck-It Ralph is the title of the movie. I put it in quotation marks. And remember, this is because Wreck-It Ralph doesn't have an author or a page number, so I can at least refer to the title. On the other hand, I have a quote here from The Outsiders, in which I do have an author and a page number. So I've used the last name Hinton and the page where I found that quote. Lastly, let's go over a couple of other items. We want to be sure that we've copied and pasted entries for your works cited slide. Now, this slide was one that we held off on for a long while, but you can go to your mentor slideshow to look at more information about a works cited slide. A works cited slide is important because it gives credit to the sources that you're using, and it allows other people to find them if they need to. So for my example, I have here the author's last name and first name, the title of the Giving Tree, the publisher who published the book, and the year in which it was published. For my movie clip, I have the name of the movie clip, Feast. I have the director of that film, the company that produced the film, and the year in which it was produced. Now, these are standards set by an organization called the Modern Language Association. And these are rules that tend to guide all English students all over the country. I'm not going to make you memorize the rules yet, but here's what you'll find in your comparative analysis theme sample slide, the mentor slideshow. Look what I've already provided to you. All you have to do is take your entries and copy them and paste them into your own works cited slide. They're already done for you. Here we have the author's last name and first, the title of the text, the publishing group and year, and for Wreck-It Ralph, of course, we have the title of the movie, the director, the company who produced it, and the year it was made. All right, wrapping up here. Make sure that you go back and take a look over your essay in the end and remove all of the unnecessary I erase notes that I provided to help you structure your essay. By the time you're done, we just want a nice clean copy that you're welcome or that you're proud to present. Please email me if you have any further questions or come see me during A3 or B7. I'm glad to help, and remember that your essay and checklist are due Friday. The checklist is required at the beginning of class, but if you have any further questions or elements that need to be worked on, you can finish the essay itself by end of day Friday.